Alright everyone, we start off today talking about Joe Biden's angry old man moments. Apparently behind closed doors, the allegation is that he frequently loses his cool. He loses his temper and gets all frustrated about polling and the direction of the country in general, and is rather confused about why people don't like him. I think the answer is fairly obvious. He made the economy shit the bed other than the unemployment rate. Inflation is still not under control, and we just had another major diplomatic failure, this time in Niger. They've ordered the U.S. military to leave completely, which means there's another country that we exert no longer any diplomatic influence over. Self-inflicted, by the way. I actually believe the government of Niger when they make their claims with regards to the behavior of the U.S. diplomatic team that went there. That's the sort of rookie mistake that I think that Joe Biden would make. Yeah, I believe them. I trust their judgment on that one. Not surprised that they expelled the United States diplomatically. Link in the description, archived of course. The reason why normally if it's like an unnamed source says, or a staffer familiar with the situation says, I take that with a big grain of salt. I tend to distrust it. The reason why I actually trust this particular claim is that he has public outbursts all the time. We've seen it before. Instead of gaslighting people, the legacy media should tell them, yeah, indeed, this is an angry old man moment. If he didn't really do that in public and only seldom ever raised his voice or something like that, or seemed to be frustrated, then I would say, the report's probably bullshit. It's like when they say Trump sometimes flies off the handle and gets enraged at things. Yeah, I can imagine so. We've got plenty of examples, some of which is staged, but some of which is clearly not, in which he's been angry in public. He's got that cutthroat boardroom personality. Yeah, of course I can believe that he berates staffers once in a while. Of course I can imagine. He insults people and says crazy shit behind closed doors. I'd be surprised if he didn't. People often act, the way that they act in public is more tempered. And so behind closed doors, when, you're not being recorded and there's nobody, other than your inner circle there, then maybe if you're naturally prone to outbursts of anger, maybe it's more prevalent because you're not trying to hold yourself back. Biden also has dementia. And if you know anything about dementia, it is possible and it's that sometimes a person has an angry outburst, often without provocation. In Biden's case, though, there's a provocation. It weighs heavily on his mind. His polling is deep underwater, people are deeply dissatisfied with the direction of the country, etc., etc., etc. He's losing to Trump in every battleground state, he's losing in general polling. The Democrats are taking a hammering down ballot, it seems. If you look at the generic polling, I'm surprised that the Republicans are actually ahead a little bit. The Senate map doesn't look good. His re-election chances don't look good. And although he is a feeble-minded, demented old man, there's still that younger man inside of him who is, he may act like the befuddled gaff master as VP or something like that and claim not to remember what a fax machine is in order to escape justice, but he's also a cutthroat. He always was in the Senate and he always could get livid. He was known to have a fiery temper. Well, now that he's less hinged because he's got dementia, that's going to manifest itself more often. So they can more or less prevent that by dosing him before he goes up on stage, and so he can't go up on stage all the time because he has to get dosed on powerful medication to do so, and at his age that's not necessarily the healthiest thing to be doing. But then he still shows up, for instance, at the State of the Union, and he still does his angry old man amphetamine face 3 different times there. He still shouts, he still pounds the podium and all of this other stuff, and that's in public. That's when he's in front of millions of people, live televised and live streamed and everything else. That's when he's in front of people. When therefore it's only his subordinates and everyone in the White House is his subordinate, then the real anger comes out. The real Joe Biden shows its rather ugly face, and it's not on amphetamines, it's on prune smoothies. So sometimes the anger comes out the other end as well. I actually believe this because we've got corroboration of similar behavior to what is being proclaimed here in public, and there must be stress. Again, the egotist in Joe Biden does want a second term. That's why there's no reason to believe he's going to stand down at the convention unless they absolutely force him to. He wants that second term. But he's looking at the numbers and saying, well, and he's not dumb. He may be demented and he may have some fucking issues, but he's not a stupid person. Again, look at any of his Senate speeches for corroboration of this. He acted the befuddled jester for Barack Obama because Obama was very dour and very professionalistic, and that's a fucking role that he played at the time. He's not playing a role now. Look at the situation. You want to be reelected, but you're deep underwater, and ultimately your plans are being foiled at every turn, despite the fact that your opponent supposedly is the more mentally retarded version of Hitler and is under 90 different felony indictments. But you're still losing. It's sort of like, imagine being John Kerry in 2004. And that was hilarious. And there were running jokes about it. Oh, supposedly George W. is this evil man, and he's crazy and he's dumb at the same time. Our candidate is slightly behind him in the polling. Well, that must have been quite the compliment at the time. Just imagine Mitt Romney in 2012, considering the state of the economy, etc., etc. Sucks to be a loser now, doesn't it? Well, Joe Biden, in his mind, he's not a feeble old man. That's why he makes comments like, I'm going to take you out behind the woodshed and make you do push-ups, and come on, fat, I bet I can do more push-ups than you. And he tries to do that like the strong man thing, because that's part of his personality and always was. Now, because of the dementia, he's got less of a lid on it. When your subordinates are the only ones there, well, you're allowed to berate them. Again, Trump does it for a form of entertainment. Not to be a hypocrite here, Trump definitely does that too. Have you ever seen The Apprentice? Not everything's staged there, I'm sure, anger-wise. You fucked up real bad on this one and lost me $1 million. You're fired. He probably enjoyed being able to say that many, many times per episode. Joe Biden is losing his marbles, is basically the sum and substance of it. He's becoming more and more unhinged. He's becoming less and less mentally capable of controlling himself, and he's looking at all of this stress and all of these other problems, mainly self-inflicted ones, admittedly, but he's looking at the polling, he's looking at the direction of the country and all of these things, and it upsets him. And so he's like, come on, man, can't we figure something out, dude? He'll blame it on the staffer, basically. The staffer's the reason why the train derailed or something like that. I imagine he's had some choice words for pretty much everyone in the administration. It wouldn't surprise me. It would be very surprising if that weren't the case. So this particular report has veracity based on the very, very public outbursts that he has had. Again, half a dozen times just at the State of the Union, he veered off and did that. So it's entirely plausible. That's about all. Peace out.